Hello and welcome to another episode of the Goal Line Conversation podcast. My name is Mike, and today I have a guest in our midst. As you can see, Jared. We have kicked Jared to the curb. We are tired of him. We're tired of hearing about him. But today we have a good friend. I'll let him introduce himself and we'll talk more about it. But I want to kind of set the stage here for people as you begin to see a lot of our episodes that are dropping out through the rest of the year. The goal is to just talk to football fans around the world and just get their perspective, get their opinion about what their club is doing, how do they believe in their club, the team performances, match results, and we'll talk about everything. And hey, we got a little surprise for you also because we'll be talking about different type of sports. This is not only limited to just soccer only. We'll talk about football, we'll talk about basketball. So if you start seeing me go into that, not only because Eagles won, that I'm not talking about football. I've been anybody who follow me on the socials know that I've been a passionate Eagle fan for a while, but not only because of that, but just because we want to diversify. What is life without not diversifying? Let's have a little bit of there. Yeah? All right. So without further ado, let me introduce Mark. Mark, welcome to the podcast, man.
Nice chilling, man. How's it going, brother?
It's going good. It's going good. I know I've been promising you like we have to link up, we have to link up, we have to link up, we have to link up. And then this year, the Lord was like, "You shall not forget Mark.
The
You
Lord
shall
shall
not
not
forget."
forget us in Jesus' name, bro.
Amen. Oh. The Lord was like, "You have to reach out to Mark." I said, okay, Mark will be my first person. So I was like, then I
That's
just reached
great,
out to
man.
you and let the people know who you are, what you
Yeah,
do, what you love. Let's find out more about you.
yeah. Hello, everybody. Name is Mack. Everybody knows me as Mac. Also Nigerian. Um, Born and raised in America. Lived in Nigeria a little bit. I work in IT. Did computer science in college. So right now I'm a senior application engineer in the IT field, which
Making
I
that
think
moolah. Making papa.
which which is interesting to say the least. So I enjoy that field. I'm an avid sports fan. Manchester United first, and then as I moved here and started learning more about other cultures and sports, I became an Eagles fan and a Miami Heat fan as well.
All
So
right. All right. So let's go into the first aspect of you talked to. You say you're a Man U fan first.
yeah, sir.
In this day and age, it's not a very popular opinion to say you're a Man U fan. Let's just be.
Um,
But
so
let me find out more about that Man U allegiance. How did you
so
become a Man U fan? Tell me more about that. How did you become a Man U fan? Maybe you become a Man U fan.
all right, so pretty much my earliest memory, funny enough, my
Mhm.
very earliest memory as a child was actually watching sports with my dad. So I was 4 years old. This was 1994, and I believe it was USA 94 or something like that. That was the
Yeah.
World Cup.
Mm.
And it's like 2 in the morning. My dad is screaming. I usually sleep in my dad's bed at that time, at that age, and all of a sudden, I wake up to go find out what he's doing, and he's watching soccer, like so passionate about it. And I'm looking at the TV, I'm looking at him like it's a bunch of people just kicking the ball around, and he's so like elated about it. And it was watching Nigeria play. I unfortunately I can't remember specifically what game it was,
Mhm.
but or who we were playing. But I just remember it was Nigeria playing. It was back when we had the dream team, I would call them.
Mhm.
And then from that time, I started becoming interested in soccer. And then one day, he's watching club football,
Mhm.
and Man U's on the screen, and I just fell in love.
Wow.
I don't remember what age it was at the time that I started loving Man U, but I just remember seeing the team,
Mhm.
the way they played, the passion, the fans, the way people revered them. It just something gravitated me towards them. Back then there was a lot of big teams. Newcastle was big around that time. Arsenal, Man U, Blackburn Rovers, I think Seth were even up there. So,
Mhm.
but something about Man U just gravitated me to that team, and I'll say that's how I became a Man U fan. I know, just every week, every weekend, I became watching it unfailingly, and that's how like that fandom grew.
Wow, wow, wow. Isn't that a beautiful thing about like the sport and what a parent like you see your parents do it and you're like, why are they so interested? You're like, now I get it. It's like I feel like even now, like even like as grown up, like sometimes you'd be like, why did things like small things like I say to my parents that like why did you bother doing this more? Now I'm like, I get it. Not just $20. That $20 it mean a lot not to
It will last longer.
last long. So it's fascinating that what you see your parents do and you're like, and you're talking about that 94 team. Oh, there were some good players on there. Oh. Then you had like
Rashidi Yakini,
uh
Yakubu,
yeah, that's the
uh,
dream team.
Okocha was still there, I believe. Sunday Olise,
Damn.
the screamer. I still remember Terrible West was there as well.
Take me
I'm
back.
sh-
Take me back.
I know you know more about that team than I do.
Bruh.
But for sure, I just remember that one commercial
Mhm.
with I think it's Rashidi Yakini with his hands in the net.
No, yeah,
You
that's the
remember that?
iconic one. I
That's
remember
the
that.
most iconic commercial
Bruh.
ever for the Super Eagles, and that was like embedded in my brain. And that passion for sports was just like it just awoke in me, you know. Um, and that was from like I said, a very young age. So I feel like our parents play a huge influence on
Yeah,
the kind of sports
absolutely.
we end up
Absolutely.
liking. Just because if I feel like we had access to different sports and my dad liked those sports, I probably
Hmm.
would have gravitated more towards that as well.
Hmm.
But I'm glad it was soccer because to me, in my opinion, football or soccer, as most Americans call it, is the biggest sport in the world, hands
Yeah,
down. And the World Cup says it. You know what I mean? Just
yeah,
the numbers
absolutely.
alone.
Please. During the Super Bowl week, I had some people were talking about compare. I like
No, let's calm down.
when World Cup speaks, every other sport just like
When
what do you
World
want?
Cup happens, the whole world stops.
Everybody. It's a universal
Everything
language,
stops.
bro.
It's
It's a
yes.
universal. Football is not NFL. American football is not trying to get to that level where
They
they're
are.
trying to like dive. I see them
That's
go
why
to
they
Brazil, in like
exactly.
Germany and all that stuff. I'm like, don't worry, they are still learning. You are learning, you're a
Yeah.
learner. So
Look at the NBA too. That's why they started FIBA and trying to get
yeah,
more like a World Cup thing sort of going. And you see it's still only the traction is still mostly Americans and like certain European countries. But
I,
football, soccer, it's universal. Doesn't matter what end of the world you're in. Every single body's tuning in. You
and
know
you
what I
know the
mean?
funny thing about it, sometimes when you watch football, you be like you think that oh when you go to England, that's where like people love football like it's like do or die. If you
Hmm.
go to the Arab nations, they can die for it.
The
Like
sports.
it
Yeah.
wasn't until like the World Cup and like other things they started just telling. I'm like these people they live and breathe by it. Like it's work, living life, and then football.
Football.
Like that's it.
That's
That's
it.
the only equation they need,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. So man, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. I'm glad that at least our parents are leaving some good imprint. The funny thing about it is about me too. Is funny stories that even for me, my love for soccer
Yeah.
came from very like young. Um, like my dad used to take me on because my dad used to play, and my dad used to take me to the field when he used to play because he used to play like I think left back or right back, and he used to take me to the field, and and I just started walking then, so he would just take me and I'll be walking, and then my leg were like bowed, and my mom was like, "Bruh, this guy's leg is not getting straight out." Like maybe you don't take him to the soccer field today, but that was like on there, bro. And and I'm out there, and then I just from there, it's like it's just embedded in me. Like I was like, whatever is making this man so like so passionate,
Passionate.
so
Yeah.
like it's like it. But for some reason now, my dad is like the least passionate football father type.
Do you know what? Do you know what? It's funny that you say that. The same thing happened to my dad. I
Like,
don't know what happened. Like my dad was the most passionate fan. Funny story about my dad. This
mhm,
man, I asked him one day a couple
mhm,
of years ago, because I was like, every time I try to tell people the story about how I fell in love with football, I always tell
mhm.
them like, my dad likes this team, my dad liked that team, and I sat there and I told my dad, I'm like, yo, dad, at one point I saw you like Chelsea, I saw you
Mhm,
like Arsenal, I saw you like Man U.
mhm,
I was like, what was your real team? Because I can't remember. My dad
mhm.
was like, my team was whatever was leading at the top of the table. And I said, why? Why don't you have an allegiance to a team? My dad said,
Mhm.
why would I want to support losers?
Oh man,
That's
that's a
literally what he told me.
that's a typical Nigerian man right there, man. Nobody,
And
we
that's how I
don't,
became a Man U fan because that time Man U was
man,
winning.
you was
And that's the
winning.
team that he was supporting.
We don't fraternize with losers, so
No,
that's why you. That's why for me,
I don't know they carry last.
that's why I don't anybody that tell me that they're Nigeria fan and a Tottenham fan. I'm just like, who do you? who offends you and your generation for you to support a team that don't even win? They don't win. They have not even won like
One
participation
trophy,
awards.
nothing. And they
So
had arguably the best England striker of all time, in my opinion.
they wasted that man's
So
life. Oh.
yeah,
They wasted his
he was
generation.
loyal. He was loyal to them.
Loyalty will help him get to where he is now.
I mean,
Sebi,
now he's about to win the Bundesliga for the first time ever. So
well, knock on wood, because that man, man, it's like that
that
generational,
that that
that
generational
generational
curse is
cross you give
something
for life.
different.
Right. So hopefully he plays, get wins it. But going
Yeah,
back
I
to
think
you,
he'll
man.
win it. Yeah.
Yeah, going back to you, man. It's awesome to find out about that. And find out like where you're. So let's talk about Man U.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're going to start there. So
Elephant in
I
the room.
there'll be a big one. It's very big. Uh I wanted to talk about, like, I know I've spoken to you
Yeah.
personally, and you're like, guy, I know. In fact, I don't even get motivation to watch that match anymore. Like, I'm just like, if sometimes I mistakenly dial it, I watch. If I know, if not, after a while, I turn it off.
Yeah.
What do you think about the current situation right now with Man U? Because what we're seeing now with Man U is unprecedented.
Yes.
It's a mixed bag for me, but I wanted to get your thought about, like, what how did it get this bad? Like, what led to this? Like, if you look back retrospectively, like,
Yeah.
what made it, what are the issues that led Man U to this point right now from your perspective?
Um, if I'm being very honest,
Mhm,
for one, like you said, this is unprecedented times. Statistically, this is the worst season for a Man U team ever.
mhm.
Not since Sir Alex Ferguson left, ever.
Damn.
When you go look at the statistics and they pulled up the data,
Mhm,
it's the worst season we've ever had. And that is unprecedented. And to think about how we got here, obviously you started in 2013 when
mhm.
Sir Alex left. That
Yeah.
was the last time we won the EPL, and that was the last time Man U was still a powerhouse. That was still a name, a household name. I was
Mhm.
23 years old. I remember that. It was you were so used to winning that when you didn't win, people were surprised
Yeah.
that we didn't win a trophy. Um, and this is why I give Sir Alex so much credit because even the team he won with, people don't understand that 2012, 2013 team wasn't the best roster we've ever had. It's just that the guy just knew what tactics, what words, and what methods to get out of the players he had to achieve an objective. That same team, he gave it to David Moyes. He spoke to him, he mentored him for a little bit. He was still in contact with him his first year in charge. And with that same exact team, David Moyes finished seventh. The
Bruh,
same exact team.
just to interject, I was talking to, I think it was Jared, who you know, but like, I
Yeah.
was talking to him and I was like, do you realize that Sir Alex won Premier League with Chicharito, Welbeck, Raphael, the Raphael brothers? Uh, what do you call it? What's that? Fletcher. I mean, what's his name was there?
Darren Fletcher,
Darren Fletcher was there. Valencia, Ashley
John
Young.
O'Shea, Wes
Jo-
Brown.
Damn,
That's my
bro.
point. These are players that right now will probably be playing for Crystal Palace or on the bench
They are
for Crystal
fodder.
Palace.
They are fodder in the
In the
in the
words of
in the world of
FIFA,
FIFA. They are
they are
fodder.
fodder. That's
You
my
quick
point.
said them.
And that's why I feel like people didn't understand is now that in hindsight, because hindsight
Mhm.
is always 2020, you
Right,
now
right, yeah.
really understand what that guy did to get Man to where they were. Because if you ever seen some of the documentaries about it, he was this close to getting fired from Man U when he first took his job.
Yeah, I
He was
remember.
doing so bad that the first 2 to 3 years they were considering letting him go, but he
Yeah.
just kept the faith. And I feel like that's where that downhill started because he learned to do more with less.
Mm.
And one of the players said this recently. I can't remember who. He said the moment he knew when Manu was on a downward slope was when Sir Alex sold Ronaldo.
Mm.
And he asked him, "It's like, Sir Alex, why are you letting Ronaldo go? You know what I mean? For
Mhm.
one, Ronaldo wanted to go.
Mhm.
Number two, we started cashing in on sales of
Oh.
players. Man used to be the one that attracted the top names, and now
Mm.
you're selling top names to go to
Mm.
other clubs. And he felt like that was the beginning of the end,
Mm.
not when Sir Alex left. And it makes sense because after that moment,
You,
all the
you know,
top players started leaving. Van Nistelrooy, David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo. You had some world class names start leaving, and then he was still winning,
Yeah.
but you saw the quality degraded
And
over
yeah,
time.
because the one that stayed, they were average. Your
Either
nannies,
that or they were like England cherished household names or
yeah.
England homegrown players.
Hmm.
But yes, like you said, it was the 90s that left over. You know what I mean? The ones that he would make do with, the Louis Sahas. Not saying he was a bad player for us, but that's no Van Nistelrooy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that, in my opinion, was one of the critical points that knew that the Glazers were here to just profit and not just for the benefit of the club. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
mhm,
But yeah, I think that's when the downfall started, not in 2013, when we
mm.
started selling top players.
Damn. Wow. That's deep because since then, since that 2013, you have tried to relieve those moments and eclipse like those superstars.
Yeah,
Like that's because that's what makes all those overly like glamorous purchases of like Falcao,
yeah.
Di Maria, who else?
Cavani, Ibrahimovic.
Cavani, Ibrahimovic, like all
Mhm.
that like overly extending yourself
Yeah,
to try to recapture like
come back
things
with.
that you had gems that you're like, nah, I gotta sell this now. And
Yeah.
you're not actually creating somebody that like look at, for example, who dared went to Barcelona to say they wanted to buy Messi? Who in
Who
their
bought
right
them
mind?
up? That's my
Who
point.
bond them?
The only way Messi leaves is if Messi say he wants to leave.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with Man U there, right? Because that was one of the biggest. That was the first red flag, the biggest
Mm,
red flag. The other thing was that all of a sudden, like you said, we started overcompensating for buying expensive players, giving huge contracts,
jeez,
and
man.
rather than proper scouting young talent, you
Yeah.
started buying established players that were either past their prime
Mhm.
or on the downward slope of their careers.
Yeah.
The average age went from like 24, 25 in Man U to like 28, 29. You
Mhm.
start having the likes of Ibra, who was past his prime, the
Yes.
Cavani's past his prime, the Ronaldo's past their prime, and you're bringing him to Man U, or then you're overpaying for a player that you think is becoming a household name already. The Marias, the Memphis Depays, the Harry Maguire, you know what I
Oh
mean? The ones
gosh.
that are, you know what I mean? That already up and coming at this
Mm,
point without
mhm.
proper recruitment. You know what I mean? And I feel like those were huge mistakes because that set a precedent. For one, it told clubs that when Man U wants a player, they will pay whatever they want. So
Mhm.
we were overpaying for
Fine, yeah.
players, and it was a Man U tax. I know you've heard this before. There's a
Yeah.
Man U tax when Man U
That's it.
comes knocking. There
Mhm.
was a Man U tax. We paid what, 70 mil for Rasmus Højlund? You know what I mean?
Jeez.
There's a Man U tax. Rasmus Højlund was 70 mil. Fun fact, Isak went for the same exact price tag for Newcastle.
Wow. God Almighty.
Isak was the same price tag.
God Almighty.
So you now had that Man U tax, right? Then you now saw that the way the management team was trying to regroup and rebuild was around buying big name players and
Mhm.
just hoping you can give contracts out and they'll play well. That's not how it works. Chemistry is
No.
built. You have to scout the talent. You have to build up from the ground. You have to do the leg work first. And that was just that slow decline. Each
Yeah.
year you saw second place finish, seventh,
Mm,
fourth place finish, sixth, blah, blah, blah. But each year that gap kept getting lower and lower and lower to where we are right now.
yeah. And I think also one of the things that with Man U is historically before you didn't pay over and above. You let people know that it it's a privilege for you to play for
To come
Man U.
here.
Like that was the stance of like you want to play for Man U, it's a privilege. Uh, if you're not don't want to play, get
That's
out.
when players were literally telling their clubs, I want to leave. Sell me. I want to go play in Man U. I want to go play in Old Trafford. That's what Ronaldo was saying in that documentary
Mhm.
when they interviewed him with Piers Morgan. He was saying players used to want to leave where they were to come play from the theater of dreams.
Yeah.
People were lying. Oh, I've been a Man U fan my whole life. Why? Because they wanted to go and win there.
Yeah.
You know what the culture was like over there. Now we're a curse. Man U is called the graveyard shift for
Yeah.
strikers.
That's
Man U is called
crazy.
where careers go to die. And you
Damn.
can't even argue that because if you see the track record, it is there.
Yeah.
Every good player or top talent that was supposedly gonna have a great career that came to Man U, all of a sudden they didn't know how to play football anymore.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
didn't know how to shoot. And that was just one of the plethora of issues that we had, and
Yeah.
that problem continued to sip into the seams of the team. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy because when you talk about like graveyard, I'm looking at like the likes of Anthony Rashford doing well in his in Aston Villa.
and for Villa,
Hopefully Aston Villa pays up that money because I don't think he has a as long as Amorim is still a coach, I don't think he has a way
he's
back
gonna, yeah,
into the team. So hopefully Rash
probably another full year loan. I don't think we're gonna sell him because Manu doesn't want to take the huge loss on Rashford because at one point he was rated 110 mil. I think the year he broke 35 goals in the season.
ah
Yeah, at one point he was still valued over 100
yeah.
mil. Um, and as a result of that, man, you don't want to take a huge loss. You don't want to sell a Rashford for 50 mil. You know,
But
when
isn't it still considered a homegrown player though?
he's
Or
a
not?
homegrown player, he is
So
because he came
it's
from
still
our
going to be pure
academy.
profit. What? So your so
Yes,
the intent is to maximize the profit that you
exactly.
get
It's to
from.
maximize the profit, not because they want to lose the money that we brought on him, obviously, but
But
it's to maximize that profit.
so that takes me probably to the next question,
Yeah,
which is like when you look at what's going on right now, um, potentially going into the summer, you're going to want to sign players.
yeah.
But my major question is, where's the money coming from? Because it looks like at the moment, especially given some of the news that has been circulating lately about a lot of the people being let go, the kitchen
The
staff, the
downsizing.
bonuses. They're
Hmm.
even telling them that they should rewash their clothes with detergent. I don't know
It
what,
sounds like a joke, but no be
but
joke.
like, but like, when you look at what's going on, it looks like either one of the either you are trying to overcompensate for like where you see debt, like a lot of debt, and you're trying to recoup. But I feel like they're even going around in the wrong way because that's not your problem. All those things you probably get like 5 6 million. The
It's
the
not.
proper debt that you are having is your wages.
Yes,
You are still
and
paying for even Sancho. You are still paying Sancho's salary. You are still
yes.
paying part of Rashford's salary is over achievement. Casemiro's salary. God, who
Casemiro's salary, if you keep passing you. If I'm not mistaken, the statistic around Casemiro's salary, Casemiro a week earns more than the entire Ipswich first 11.
Jesus Christ. And this man, he stays sitting on a bench.
As long as he posts his up man you, good game, he's doing his part. You forgot we did that with Bastian Schweinsteiger?
Oh my God. I remember that guy. That guy, you know the funny thing? He came to Man U to come and retire. Then I
Yes.
went to the MLS to go and collect pension.
Exactly. That's my point. That's where all these new age players on the back end of their careers are like, yeah, I'm a Man U fan. I've been a Man U fan because they know Man U fan
Huh?
open their wallets. Casemiro, let's be honest, when Casemiro said, I'm going to Man U because I believe in them and they can win something. Nah, Casemiro was going there because he knew
Get that bread.
we had that bread. Why would you leave a Real Madrid to go to Man U? Because he
Uh,
knew Madrid wasn't going to renew his contract. Madrid
yeah.
has this strict laws for their club around resigning old players, unless you are like a really exceptional, like
Hmm.
Modric. They made
Hmm.
certain exceptions,
Yeah.
but most players when you reach a certain age, you don't get renewed. Look at the likes of Sergio Ramos, who's one of the most decorated center backs. He had to leave, so
Yeah.
Casemiro used that logic to
Hmm.
go to Man U. It's so bad that even some players even use Man U's name to get new contracts.
To get a
Look at
ball.
Rabiot. Look at Sergio Ramos.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's true.
Man U, I'm interested. Come talk to me. So this way they get a counter offer from another team and
Yeah.
get their wages up. So he became a joke to people to the point that people are using us now to just bait for
Yeah.
get higher wages. You know what I mean? And it's sad, like you said. Um, our biggest debts is wages and loss of income. We're not winning trophies, neither. We're not winning nothing.
Mm.
Our sales are down and viewership is down as a result because you're not winning on the pitch. It doesn't matter what you're doing off the pitch. Granted, the stadium is falling apart. There's
Mhm.
marketing and a bunch of upper management strategies that can still help with the team. We understand that.
Mhm.
But what's the most important thing is what's happening on the pitch. When
Yeah.
what's happening on the pitch doesn't translate to wins and the fans are not happy, you're going to continue to lose money.
Yeah.
And the Glazers are just trying to no matter what they do every year, they take out profits out of that money. You know what
That's
I mean?
insane.
They keep taking out profits, which means your debt stays there. If your debt is whatever 1.2 trillion and you made 600 million this year, they will take out that 300 million and put that 300 million back. They make sure they're getting their profits regardless. So by the time they cash out, they're going to be profitable, which I understand. It's still a business to them, but we should
It's
have
a
known
bit.
better because the Glazers not really a big. They're not big soccer fans. They're not. They saw Man U as a business decision. That's why when people were talking about Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming, because that's a real proper Man U fan, they were
Mhm,
like, okay, well, this guy will come in. You know what I mean? Even I had huge hopes and faith in him. Next thing
mhm.
you know, they're talking about no more free meals to staff. Like, how does that? That doesn't. Rashford's wages by himself for one
Can't,
week
can't feed
will
them.
will feed the whole cafeteria. So what are we
That's
talking about?
crazy.
That doesn't make a dent. It doesn't make a dent. They're just trying to show that they're making different strategies to the stakeholders, I'm guessing, and the minority stakeholders, but it's not working.
Yeah, and I think what's kind of ridiculous is that last summer there were a lot of things that Man U could have done differently. Like first off, let's call the biggest one: do not resign Ten Hag, because now you have whatever money you are trying to save, you have already paid to Ten Hag.
Yeah,
You are still
I
paying.
think we yeah, the rumor the report came out that we had to pay Ten Hag 20 something million to kill
Jesus.
his contract. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's around 24 million we had to pay him to get rid of his contract. Most people don't understand that with coaches, most of their contracts are guaranteed, unlike
Yeah.
some of the soccer players.
Hmm.
So when the likes of Mourinho get let go, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ten Hag, we're paying out the rest of the contract. We're buying it out outright, essentially. So you just paid 24 million to get rid of Ten Hag. That 24 million could have gotten you a center back, could have gotten you a left wing back, could have gotten you a up and coming rising star. As far as the resigning goes, I was Ten Hag out that whole second half of the season until that miraculous 4-3 win
Hmm.
against Liverpool. In my opinion, he earned. In my opinion, he
Hmm.
earned another couple of months. So I
Hmm.
was on board with them resigning him,
Hmm.
as majority of the fans were, because that was a big achievement for us.
Hmm.
Liverpool, like the odds for that game were so outstanding. If I'm not mistaken, it was 1-10 for Manu to win that game. It was 1-10, and somehow we won that game. So I understand that at
Are you
least
talking
give us
about
some.
Are you talking about the City one, or like the City last game, or this one? Because Liverpool, I'm trying to remember this one.
Oh, sorry, Liverpool was the year. Wasn't the year before that?
Oh yeah,
Or no,
yeah,
it was
before
this.
the last one
No,
was City
I'm
because they
sorry.
won.
Liverpool was during the semis of the same cup.
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
This
okay, okay,
you
okay.
remember that?
Yeah, mhm, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and Ahmad scored the goal to go to the finals, I think. And then you're right, we beat Man City in the finals. It was clinical. By the way, we outplayed them. Everybody can admit that. I
Mm.
think that's where it went.
Question
But
on
either
that one:
way, you're right.
were those guys hungover? City were they hungover? Or they were
There
actually
was
in
no
the.
longer about they were overconfident. That was the
Okay,
problem. They were
okay.
overconfident because they were dominating the league that year. They were
Mm,
beating everybody by 3+ goals. They had no solution to Holland, who was breaking records left and right. He
mhm.
scored more hat tricks now than Rashford in his whole career. And this once in the 1 2 seasons there's been, you know what I mean? If I'm not mistaken, I don't think Rashford ever scored a Premier League hat trick. He's
Patrick,
never.
yeah, yeah. I don't
So
think it's score one.
you start looking at some of those statistics and you go and sit down and you realize that some of those achievements we were overreaching, and that's a huge statement for a Man U fan. So I don't think it was a mistake to bring him back. I think it was a mistake with the signings we made. You know,
Mm.
some of the players we acquired, the strategy around recruiting.
But
Um,
I felt like Ten Hag was had a heavy say on who you went for in regards to recruitment wise. Because if you look at the style of players that he
mhm.
brought in, the Anthony's, brought in the Onana, brought in what you call it, Hoyland. I don't know who bought Hoyland because
He bought Hurland.
I know he
So
bought him, but was it his intention or did they
so
impose it
they
on him?
they
That's
have
one I
it's
don't
two
know.
ways. Yeah, so they work together.
Mm,
The club has players they buy for their own specific reason, whether it's marketing,
mhm,
homegrown, their own scouting, and then
mm,
the coach gets a say on his own players that he wants.
mhm,
So he's the one that bought Rasmus Højlund. The
mm,
one player that I can remember and think off the top of my head that he didn't buy, that was the club that bought, was Mason Mount. He did
mm.
not buy Mason Mount. He did not want Mason Mount. Mason Mount plays the same position as
It's,
Bruno Fernandez.
yeah.
And Mount is not a player you bench. Not
Thank you
really,
very
if
much,
I'm
by
being
the way.
honest.
As a Chelsea fan, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. Just
You
saying.
know, I got hold my tongue. So we bought that player for 60 mil. which to this day I still question, even when they bought the guy.
That
And
thing
now
has to be money laundry. It has to be money laundry.
it
There's
literally
no
has to be
other
money laundering.
there's no other explanation I have.
I cannot explain this because it doesn't make any sense why we went for Mason Mounts. It
Man on
made
1 year on
no
his
sense
contract. 1 year
at
left on
all.
his contract. You are here
And you
giving
pay for
16
super
top
injury
dollar.
prone, and what he's scored what, one goal in a year and a half.
That's
He's
insane.
been on the pitch for maybe 20 games out of a
That's
possible.
another one that you need to cut. You know that when you play FIFA, there are some places that you just release a player, but they will tell you that
Yes,
it's like 2 million to release a player, and you'll be like,
you just take the yes.
cut, just take the
The
cut
funny
it.
thing is, in reality, you can't do that. Unfortunately, we're bound to pay them for the entirety of the contract.
FIFA lied to you.
That's why Casemiro didn't want to leave. We
Mm,
wanted Casemiro to go to Saudi Arabia. They were trying to push him out the door. The guy said no, unless you can get someone else that can pay more wages than what
that's
you're paying
insane.
me right now. They said no. We had a Rabiot who has rejected Man U so many times in the recent past.
That's insane. That
All
dude.
of a sudden, he saw that he wasn't really getting offers, and he's like, put it out there with his agent, like, Man U, I'm interested. You know what I mean? We become bait to a lot of
Mhm.
people. So yeah, I don't think like we've made very smart purchases in recent years.
Mm,
Very, very poor choices, if we're being honest. There are a few gems here and there, obviously, like a Bruno Fernandez, like a
yeah.
Amad Diallo. You know what I mean? There's always going to be those. Lenny Yoro, I think, is going to be a great player. He's
Mm,
young. I
yeah.
personally believe he'll be a great player. But we've
But
also made large mistakes. There, you need to learn when to walk away from a deal,
yeah.
and that is the problem. We don't know how to do that.
Mm,
Mismanagement of funds.
mm,
Onana, Mason Mount, Rasmus Hoyland, Harry Maguire. Even though he's turned his career around, he's a much better center back than when he first got here. It was a laughing stock. Every
mhm.
joke was around you was around Harry Maguire. And we had those kind of players that were just egregiously overpriced. Even Anthony. Anthony was overpriced, even for the kind of projections that he was being put on before we
Yeah.
knew what we were getting. To pay 90 or 100 million, whatever it was they were paying for him, was egregious. You don't pay that kind of money unless
That
you've
guy,
won something,
that guy
unless
is
you're a
40.
proven player.
It's 40 or 35 if you stretch it. Last price.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And Anthony, that was playing for not even minor league, is one of Europe's top five leagues, I think, I guess. But he's not for a top team and he's not really
No.
proven himself. You don't pay that
Mhm.
kind of money. The kind of money you even pay for Bruno. At that time, if you realize Bruno was overpriced
Yeah.
because he was playing for a small club again,
Mhm.
he's not proven.
Sporting. Nobody
Is
really knew what it was
That's my point.
capable of doing.
You only pay that kind of money for Ronaldo's. You can be giving that money for Rafael Leao's, for people that have won something. Even a Dembele that was injury prone, you can still make that claim for it. Anton Griezmann, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Players that have won something on the big stage. We were paying that for players that we came out of nowhere. We didn't even pay that much for Ronaldo. I don't remember what we paid for Ronaldo. Ronaldo was maybe like 17 mil, whatever it was.
Mhm.
It was, even though people at that point knew he was going to be a great player, but because of the club and his age and his status, we knew it's still a gamble. So Manny was like, "Look, we'll pay you guys this much.
Mm.
Take it or leave it. You need
Yeah.
to know when to walk away from deals."
Hmm.
Fun fact: do you know we came this close to signing Ronaldinho?
Yeah. Wait, who botched that one? Who was the one that
It
botched?
wasn't even a person that botched that one. The story was that Ronaldinho landed in Man U, came to do the tour with Sir Alex,
Mhm.
and apparently he saw the state of England and how much it rained.
Oh,
They
because
said the weather was so gloomy, it rained all the time,
Mhm.
and that was a big put off for Ronaldinho. I'm
Damn.
sure there's more to that, but that was one of the major reasons why the guy said no,
Mhm.
apparently, to Man U.
That's
It's
crazy.
crazy. But if you think about it, it rains a lot in Old Trafford. If you haven't
Yeah,
noticed
yeah,
by now, in
definitely. Yeah,
Manchester, it's insane.
yeah. Yeah. So price for Ronaldo to Man U originally was 12.24 million.
Okay, thank you.
So
There you go.
basically not even up to 13. Can't even call it
A-
13.
And if we
Not even
paid
top.
40 mil for Ronaldo, then is like people be like, "What are you doing?" Sure, it's
Mhm.
going to be he's a great prospect, he's a great this, but it's unproven. It's
Mhm.
unproven talent. That's why you don't make those kind of big gambles. Now we're known for making big gambles.
Yeah.
And plus, you have Man U tax. They know Man U are desperate. They know Man U is a club that pays out big contracts. So
Yeah.
when Man U comes asking for a player, there's always additional 20, 30 mil on top of a player. Like you said, Anthony's maybe 40 mil
Mhm.
realistically when we bought him on the market value. And we
Yeah.
went for 85 or whatever it was. We paid 90 million. It's egregious. You know what I mean?
Ah. Man, that's crazy. Let's kind of dive into. So we're talking about signings now. One thing I wanted
Mm.
to ask was going into the summer, who are like let's say the top six signings that you need right now to address some of the areas and like so.
Okay.
And in this, we're assuming that Amorim is still the coach. So
Hmm.
obviously, I don't think
Would that fit
anybody.
his style of play?
Yeah, and I don't think anybody is going to fire him because you do,
No.
you don't have
You,
any. You don't have the
for one,
luxury
it's
of
too soon. Number
that.
two, you can see the vision.
Hmm.
I still see the vision. The
Okay.
results are not a result. The results are not a product of his own doing necessarily. He doesn't take majority of the blame. He was just taking over what trash, God forgive me,
Hmm.
was left for him to handle.
Hmm.
And that's what he has to play. He went from Gyökeres scoring hat trick against a Man City to Erasmus Hoyland. So to get into it, the
Who
top
cannot
six,
finish his dinner? But let's go to the top
you
six.
can't finish a sentence, brother. So the top six, for one, as much as I like this guy, I
Mhm.
feel like he's been a huge liability. Is Andre Onana?
Mm.
He's been a huge liability.
So you need a
Very
replacement for him.
too much of a prone mistake. You need a Mike Mignon who should have you that's who you should have
Mm.
bought initially. You
Ooh,
need you need
yeah.
you need a proven play, a Jan Sommer. You know what I mean? Those kind of players that are proven, right?
Hmm.
Onana was a ball playing goalkeeper. That's why he's very similar to Ederson. Ederson is also is a very mistake prone as
Yeah.
a result of being a ball playing goalkeeper. That's why
Why
he's
you
not the
switch all
starter
these
and it's
goalkeepers?
Allison.
Just give them what they do. Use your hand.
They want to
I know.
call possession. Kilo me. At the end of the day, it is what it is.
Okay. Let's go to the next one, Joe.
This next thing is right now we have a lot of center backs, young ones, so I don't feel like that position needs to be altered.
Hmm.
Right now the ones we have aren't doing terrible. The
Hmm.
problem lies in other positions. So the second position is we need a new right back. As
Hmm.
much as I love Diogo Dalot, I was one of the people that was actually still advocating for this guy even before I don't even remember we loaned him out at one point, and
Oh,
the low
really?
was on. Yes, the low was on loan. People forgot that he was on loan for a year to somewhere in Spain. And even
Mm.
during that time, like, I kept telling people like, "Yo, guys, this guy's a baller. This guy's a baller." So
Oh.
my Man U fans that I'm in a group chat with, they didn't believe me. But
Mm.
now his fall off has been astronomical, and he needs some sort of competition there
Yeah,
again.
yeah, absolutely.
So I think a new right back, like a Denzel Dumfries, a stolid, physical, a Valencia type
And
player.
that guy will he will love this
This
Amorim's
style of play,
style.
exactly. So Denzel Dumfries is a player that I love. So that's the second position. Third
Mm-hmm.
position is you need another holding midfielder.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Casemiro is getting older. Ugarte is one player as a CDM.
Mm-hmm.
Manu is realized is a tactical player for
Mm-hmm.
certain games. He
Mm.
gets overrun in certain games where
Yeah.
he has to defend. When
Mm-hmm.
we're controlling possession, sure, great
You
creative
can.
midfielder,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not a Handa Herrera. I need a Handa Herrera type of player. If you remember Handa Herrera, a
Mm-hmm.
utility player that can go forward and is a no nonsense tackler. So another
Mm-hmm.
center mid. That's the
And
third position.
enforcer basically.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the third position.
Mm.
Another position is wingers.
Oh,
So
yeah.
maybe, so I'll even say as far as to go and say two wingers, right? Right now,
Mhm.
you've lost Jadon Sancho to loan.
Yeah.
You have Anthony on loan. You have Rashford on loan. That's three wingers we have out on loan alone.
Mm,
So you
that's
need two new wingers, right? That work. Sancho is lazy.
yeah.
His work ethic shows. Even in Chelsea, he's not starting. He's getting benched by
Bro,
Pedro Neto.
I'm just glad that it's 25 million that we agreed because that brother it was giving me some YouTube clips kind of this. I was like, I was jittering, I was shouting, we got
Everybody
him.
was. We too. We knew what we're doing. For
That
once, we finally got something.
I
Yeah.
because
Um.
when he now came to the game, I'm seeing this guy. I'm like, Baba, is it only Colo that you came to cover? You just come and do Meg. You do
Now
Meg one,
dribbling, they
two.
come.
He
They
just do
go
one or
back
two Meg and then he just
and he
relax.
takes the ball back. He
I'm
doesn't go
like,
forward too much. Why are
he
you
didn't
cutting
even
back?
shoot. I'm like, bro, just use your leg now. Go on, Jare.
So yeah, he's one of the problems. So Sancho was one of the problems. Anthony obviously hasn't worked out. I still really like Anthony, and I still think that I would like him to come back and play as competition, maybe off the
Mm,
bench for now, earn his fight his for his spot back. But he's already released statements that he would love to stay at Betis another year.
yeah,
Rashford has released a statement
because
that he would
that
love
man
to
is
stay
running
at
his mouth.
Aston
Oh.
Villa. Yeah,
That
because
man is running.
there's
Stay
a
out,
lot less
run his mouth.
pressure, a lot less pressure. But Betis can't afford him.
Yeah,
They
they
can't
can.
afford his wages. They can't afford to pay whatever we would probably ask for him, even if it's 40 mil. That would be
Mm-hmm.
probably half their budget or 60% of their budget for the summer, if we're being realistic. So
Mm-hmm.
two wingers. And every time I mention a position, a player or a position that we need, I mention a player that
Yeah,
kind of
there
fits
you
that
go.
role there.
Mm-hmm.
And from one, maybe this is very, very greedy,
Mm-hmm.
but I Rafael Leao in terms of talent. Like
Mm.
Leao gives me Sancho vibes off the pitch,
But I feel like
but in terms of talent,
mhm.
it's there. It's
Yeah,
undeniable talent.
one thing I've seen about Rafael Leao is that he's inconsistent. And I've
Yes,
seen that in AC Milan. So maybe if he has the right coach that can bring the best out of
that's
him,
what I was trying to say.
because right now that man is supposed to be like the level of his talent and the way he's
He is.
currently capping out right now. That
Do you know who that reminds me of?
who?
Neymar. Neymar's level of talent
And where is
versus where his career ended is not
bruh,
the same. The talent was up here. It was a Ronaldinho level
bruh.
talent, if we're being very honest.
Yeah.
But he fell significantly short. And
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Leao. So that's why I say if someone like a Leao with some consistency, with some hard training, let's be honest. That's why I said that Manu has many different problems. A Leao under Sir Alex
Hmm.
would have turned to Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Because if you remember all the stories about Sir Alex and Ronaldo, it
Hmm.
was how he calls him his second dad. Or he didn't take it easy on Ronaldo. Ronaldo came to with the flair, with the dribbling, the
Hmm.
I just want to be a star. He
Hmm.
turned him into a goal scoring machine. He turned him
Mentality
into a
monster, bro.
mentality monster. He changed his mindset. All the time, he used to say people would say this about Ronaldo, say this about Ronaldo. He'd be like, leave them. I got this. He would not
Hmm.
talk to Ronaldo. Ronaldo, what's up? Let's talk. He
Mm.
talked to him a different. It was like a different language with him and Ronaldo. So a Leao type of talent. If
Mm.
I want to be more realistic, a Dembele without the injuries. Give me a
Mm.
Dembele without the injuries. I need someone like that that is dangerous every time he touches the ball. He scares you.
Mm.
So give me like a Dembele type of play on the right wing that
Mhm.
scares you every time he touches the
Yeah.
ball.
Mhm.
Who else do I like that I think is a great player? Um, as a winger, because we need another winger that I
Yeah.
feel like is just a baller. Um, Actually, someone like Mitoma. We need a big name player.
Mhm.
Mitoma is consistent.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy is very, very good at
Yeah.
what he does, and I feel like he's underrated because of
Mm.
probably his nationality and the team he plays for. But
Mhm.
Mitoma is a very good player. So
Yeah.
I gave you like a mid-budget player and a high-budget player, and
I
obviously
like
now the last position,
it.
the
Mhm.
striker.
Yeah.
The strikers we have
Highland
are
gotta go.
abysmal.
Highland
He's
gotta go.
he's so bad. We paid 70 million for this kid. He has 2 goals in 23 or 24 Premier League games.
That is crazy. That is insane.
Gabriel, as a center back, I scored more Premier League goals than him.
That is wild.
Harry Maguire, I scored more Premier League goals than Rasmus Højlund. And that is a big problem.
that.
So the striker position is our biggest flaw. And in terms of comparison, again, the kind of players you need, I like what I'm hearing so far from
Mm.
the off season that's coming is a Mateta. I
Mm.
like a Mateta,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
no nonsense player.
I've seen
Uh,
the report of that. That guy.
Tucking my shirt. I haven't seen a tucking my shirt player in years since the likes of Henry, since the
Mhm.
likes of some of these players that were no nonsense players. He's
And
just
that
getting me in front of the goal.
and that guy stands on business, bro. Like he's probably like he's good at ball carrying. He's a big problem
Very
in the box.
strong physical.
Big problem. He can dribble because I forgot what game I was watching him again. The guy dribbled all the way from midfield, made an assist, still had time to get into the box and finished off the
They
goal.
go,
I
yeah.
was like,
He's
bro.
done that a few times this season. And Mateta is one of those players that's why I said I don't even have to ask for a kind of striker I want. But what I'm hearing already is good. So
Yeah, that's
that's
good.
one rumor, but it's no longer a rumor because Amorim has not had a chance to buy any players that he wanted. I don't count Dorgu. Dorgu was
It was a
one. We needed a left back because we had
mhm.
nothing, and he
Yeah.
just had to go into the market to buy something.
Mhm.
And I would say that is one striker that I really like.
Mm.
I like him a lot. I also like Gyökeres, but Gyökeres is pricey. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Very, very pricey.
Your comes out like is it
100
68,
mil.
50 something?
No, but with Man Utd tax, if we're being
Oh yeah.
honest, is a 100 mil player. So every time I say with Man U, you already know the kind of text that comes with it.
Yeah, they're definitely picking
Yeah.
that up.
So give me a Mateta, bro. Give me a Mateus Cunha. But
Mm,
Cunha, the only reason I don't like Cunha is once again is anger issues. He gets
yeah,
carded too often. He loses
it
his
gets
mind.
score, it gets more score day.
And looking right now, he's banned for 3 games during a stretch that they actually need him. These are three winnable games they have coming up. I think
Yeah.
Southampton, Ipswich, blah blah
Oh
blah,
wow,
whatever
yeah,
it
that's
is.
true. That's true. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
literally playing three of the other bottom five teams,
Mm-hmm.
and they stretch they need him. He's nowhere on the pitch. So
Mm.
those are the positions I feel like we need.
All right, all right, all right. I see you. I see you. I see you. All right. Let me to wrap up this Manu segment. I wanted to ask. This season, people just. I think a lot of Manu fans have already wrapped it up as like this is just is where is that. Realistically, where do you think you finish at the end of the season?
Realistically, if I'm being very unbiased,
Mm-hmm.
best case scenario 10th, worst case scenario no, best case scenario 10th, realistic scenario maybe 12th.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like we're pulling a Chelsea. No,
Mm.
no pun intended, but
Uh,
that one year you guys had finished
ah,
12th with Hazard. I can never forget that because I was so in shock with the kind of team you guys had.
is it even Hazard? There's the latest one that we had when you were just hiring and firing people, where we
He still
just
wasn't 12th. You guys were still top 10, I
yeah, I
think.
think is it eight that we finished? I forgot.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is unprecedented. Right now we're what?
because I remember one time I was just praying for 40 points because I'm like we can't go down.
Yeah,
We can't
see,
go down though.
it's so funny that we're talking laughing about this now because Man U is closer to the bottom than they are to the top. Isn't that funny? We're
That's
closer to
insane, bro.
20th than we're closer to the first place team.
Oh, did you watch the game yesterday?
The Man U game.
Yeah, the Man U Arsenal game.
So since the time I stopped watching Man U game,
Mm-hmm,
I stopped watching consistently
mm-hmm.
since I'll say maybe around November. Because around
Okay.
that time, I kind of saw what was happening with the team.
Like I can't watch my team go down like that.
So what I was doing was I was very selective with the games I would watch. I would
Mm-hmm,
watch the games that I felt like we had the better chance of winning.
winning
The
up.
bottom teams, and
Mm-hmm.
then I would skip the big games because I
Mm,
couldn't stand it.
that's true.
And what was happening was Man U were performing against the big teams
Yeah.
and losing to the small
That's what
teams.
would you see? Yes,
It's
cause I
so ironic. Look at just yesterday's game again, and then the scramble that broke the straws back, or
mhm.
whatever you say, was the game against Southampton. We were at
Okay.
home
Yeah,
against Southampton, and
that
we
was
went down
crazy.
1-0.
That was
And I
crazy.
am screaming at the TV. I am losing my mind. I am pacing around the house.
Oh
My
my
wife is looking at me like I've lost my mind.
god.
I was
Yeah.
yelling at the TV.
Yo, shout out to
And
the
then
wise man because they be seeing you having an actual meltdown, and you be like, "Bruh, are they paying you
they
or
don't
did
even
they?"
understand.
I'm
They
like,
don't
"You don't
understand it.
understand."
You don't.
I
And
I had to tell my wife one time. I said during one when Chelsea was putting an absolute stinker during the
yeah,
season. I said, if you see me watching a Chelsea game, turn off the TV. You have full permission. She's like, for real? I'm like, I'm telling you, this is how much they are
yeah.
irritating me. Then she catch me watching a Chelsea. She's like, what about? Like, don't worry, this was an exception. It's an exception. Oh,
And
that's crazy.
that's yeah. So that game
Hmm.
and the moment I lost my crap
Hmm.
was when a cross came from Garnacho to
Hmm.
the back post, and Anthony had a wide open goal.
Hey,
He
hey.
slid and still missed the goal. My goodness, I
Oh,
lost my mind. It
oh
was
my
so
god.
bad I turned off the game.
I'm
By
done.
the time I came back,
Mhm.
somehow Man U won that game. But
I'm
the
not.
damage was done.
I'm not done.
Ahmad Masterclass hat
Mhm.
trick. So that was the game I stopped watching Man U games. And
Mhm.
after that, it was just highlights, key
I know.
moments that I
Okay.
kept watching. Same thing with the game yesterday.
Mhm.
The damage is done for
But
the
don't worry.
season. There's nothing to fight for.
Don't worry. You know you were talking about Ireland. That
Yeah,
boy, he should be crucified. They need not crucified. They need to deduct his paycheck from that yesterday's game
I saw it.
because
I saw
how
the key moments
how he did not finish that ball. The lack of
from
awareness.
Casemiro.
No, not even Casemiro. It's the one that they made a mistake. Yeah, maybe it's the Casemiro one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, they made a mistake. And Bruno passed him the ball.
Brother, you're a
One
football
touch
player.
finish
You are a football player who has been playing God knows how many years on this God given
professionally.
earth. Professionally. Even me, as a, I don't even know.
As
My
a
chest,
fanatic.
I will be putting my leg so I can have, because you know why? Why I was even saying is that because the way Rice took that ball, if he positioned his body well to cover the ball and
Yes,
position himself in the way to shoot, if
he's
Rice
scoring
takes
that.
him down, it's a red card and a penalty.
And that's what I'm thinking. That's a Mateta. Mateta in that position, he is guarding you off the ball. For one, he's a huge guy. You're not getting him off the ball. Number two, you get him off the ball, it's a penalty. Number
Rice,
three, he gets that positioning and he finishes the goal.
Rice had no permission. He had no
No
authority,
rights
no
to get
right
that ball.
to get that ball. When he tackled it, in my mind, I shouted penalty. I was like, penalty. When I now saw the idiot fall, I was like, oh no, wow. What are you doing in your life? What are you doing in training? I want to know what you're doing in training. You know when they're doing all those 1-2 shoots, you're like,
Yeah. What
and
are
they'll
you
be
doing
putting
when they're
it for
doing that?
they'll put it on the gram. What are you doing there that you cannot do now?
Doing the highlight in the Instagram
So
reels.
you are good that because if you watch it live, I'm not a Man U fan. I was so angry because I'm like, this is a game that Man U should not even win. This is a game that you should be slaughtered.
He should be slaughtered. And somehow
But
we came out
you came
feeling
out on top,
underwhelmed.
and God hands you the best gift on earth. Arsenal that are very, very good in possession lose possession in their half.
Your own box.
You are true one on one. You are looking at the goalkeeper's future like you are like, your own is finished, brother. But the main
Side
thing you're supposed to finish, you are not good enough.
sidebar. Minus the Rasmus Højlund miss
Mhm,
or chances.
mhm.
That game was saved by David Raya. Let's not
Yeah,
make
yeah,
no
yeah, yeah, yeah.
mistake.
Absolutely, absolutely.
David Raya
Any
pulled
any
David De Gea.
any Arsenal fan that does not agree on that, they are just
David Raya
they're in the
made
Lulu land.
David De Gea saves
Yeah,
to
yeah,
keep
yeah.
them. The
That
biggest one was that one from Mazraoui. I don't know how he
Dalo.
saved that ball,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah. It was Masrawi.
Dallo to Razori,
Yeah.
Dallo to Mazraoui, and he saved that ball. In my mind, I'm like, how did this guy save this shot? And then the end of the game with the Bruno shot, and it's like bouncing and looping back in after the first save. How we didn't win that game by 2, 3 goals actually surprised me,
Arsenal were
and
lucky,
that is
and
a problem. They
Ars-
were lucky.
Arsenal were lucky. And if they had Arsenal
Proper
any proper sense, they would know that they are farther away from competing for the Premier
at the
League because their ability to remain consistent throughout the season is
is
a big
not
problem. And I think a lot of Arsenal fans think striker is their problem. Striker is not your problem.
is not
The problem that you have is the lack of consistency
their
because
mentality.
their mentality, like what you need to do to win. Because
Weren't they up 7 points with 8 games to go
yeah,
when they lost to City?
Leeds City.
Up
So
with 7 points with 8 games to go.
bruh, give me Mourinho. Give me Mourinho.
Mourinho, I'm a park boss here. He will
You
park that.
your
He knows how to get
you want to
results.
score? Come and enter now.
Come on, try.
Come and
And so
try now.
if I'm not mistaken, Mourinho still holds the record for the least goals scored in a season by any
Yeah.
team, which is 12, and it was Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a Mourinho record.
That's
Um,
that's crazy. That's
that's
crazy.
insane to me. They only conceded 12 goals in a 38 game season.
That's
Now, if you concede less than 40, you're the best team in the league. Less
that's
than 40, you're the best team in the league.
Maria is a madman. He's a madman. Let's leave it like that.
Yeah.
Man is a madman. All right, let's quickly go into this is segment I call this is a football segment. So all you
Mhm.
soccer fans that you are shouting, you don't know anything. Just worry. You can don't tune off. Stay subscribed or subscribe and like. Please subscribe. Please. We like you. We might find it interesting. But this segment is more about football. As
Yeah.
much as far as I've known you, Mark, you've been an Eagle fan.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to talk about one. I think you talked about how you became an Eagle fan. So we're not going to go into that. I have
Yeah.
this segment I called the Iglometer. That means
Okay.
how much of an Eagle fan are you? So
Okay.
I have a brief fire questions.
Oh
What do you
Lord.
think of the cowgirls?
Garbage.
Here we go. That's what I want to hear. And I put the dash mandas. What do we call them?
Dash Mandas.
Yeah, they're in our conference division.
Commanders.
What would you call them? The other name. I should clue you in.
Clue me in.
They are the bombanders. They are bombs. Bombanders, bro.
Washington Commanders.
Washington bombanders. They know themselves. Um, Should
aka
we
the
send
Redskins.
the other one? I want to ask is, should we send a fake ring, Super Bowl ring,
Yes,
to the
yes.
to the
Before you finish the comments, yes, because
to the Giants GM?
every time Saquon Barkley rushed for 100 yards or
Mm-hmm,
scored a touchdown, I
mm-hmm.
texted Bayo personally. He's a Giants fan. I
It's
was
a
like, every time
Giants.
I always text him, Bayo, thank you. Another touchdown, Bayo, I love you. Another touchdown, Bayo, you're so great. I hope you have a wonderful day. Because people don't understand, the Giants were the 12th player on the pitch for the Eagles this season.
Damn,
That's how much they don't realize they instrumented the construction of this Super Bowl.
jeez,
They
bro.
single handedly, in my opinion, single handedly gave us that championship. We already had other players and pieces.
Yeah, everybody knew what they
We
were
had
gonna
an
do.
AJ Brown, you had a Jalen Hurts, you had a, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Smitty, bro, Slim Reaper.
We had some insane cornerbacks. We had Gainwell, a backup. We had the players. You just needed a running back, and DeAndre Swift didn't do bad last year. Let's be
Swifty,
honest.
Swifty was in the last Super Bowl, right? Didn't he?
Yes, DeAndre Swift was not a bad player.
It was
But
good,
then you get someone like Saquon Barkley.
bro.
And when the season started, I was saying I was actually pitting the Ravens to win everything because I felt like a Derrick Henry and
Lamar,
Lamar is going to be the most
scary.
deadliest duo in
Mm-hmm,
the league. They were scary, and let's be honest, they were scary.
mm-hmm.
Derrick Henry won like what, a 12-game scoring touchdown streak.
Yeah,
Lamar threw for the most touchdowns this
yeah,
season or something
yeah,
like that. Like
yeah. Crazy
insane
yard.
statistics. And you have both of them running for like 300 yards combined every week. You can't stop that.
Yeah, you
But
can.
then Saquon Barkley showed within the first 5, 6 weeks that look, I'm a serious guy too. And I feel like I started believing around week 8 or week 9, when this guy
Bro,
ran for like 200 and like three touchdowns.
the
I'm like,
moment
you
that
guys are
bro-
in trouble.
the moment that brother signed up as an Eagle fan, I
A
knew.
player.
I as an Eagle player, I knew there was trouble for the rest of the league. I knew.
Yes.
I just knew because Eagles were run first team.
Yes.
For anybody who does not know the Philadelphia Eagles, we are run first team. We'll run you ragged.
We'll
We'll,
run you to the ground.
we'll let Jalen Hurts run for 70 or 80 yards than him throwing for 120 yards.
Yes.
That is the kind of offense that the Eagles team is built on. And then
Yeah.
you now bring a running specialist,
A top 3 running back in the league.
just wants the ball. It's not even asking for much. Just give me the ball. So I was not asking. So he was doing great in the Giants, and
Yeah.
they revered him so much with a very horrible offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
What will he now do?
On a well-established team with a good O line, some other offensive weapons that take away the pressure from him. Because you say you wanna look at the Super Bowl, for example. You want to completely stop the run game. That's fine. Guess what? You're leaving AJ Brown and Devontae
Oh, one
open.
on one, bro.
You're in trouble. Either way, pick
One.
your poison. It's like when they give you that tic-tac-toe, right? And someone gives you that two-way,
Those two moves, and
those two moves, and you're
you're
like,
like,
whichever,
damn,
pick your poison.
pick your
You're screwed
poison,
either way. And that's a problem. And that's a
bro.
problem for the league. You stop his run game because people don't understand that there were comments saying that, oh, he didn't really have a great Super Bowl. People don't realize that he did his job. He took away the
And
entire distraction. It was the whole distraction for the offense because they were so worried about him running, they couldn't stop the passing game. Go ahead.
for people who don't understand the game of football, I'll tell you that the Chiefs middle linebacker and safety, they were just crashing in a box because they were like, we can't let this brother get an inch. Because
No.
and they knew that the moment Saquon he knows how to get through
Any
the
open
line,
space,
it's a touchdown. You're not stopping him.
you're not. You're not.
The one
He's
team I was worried about, that I think that I was like, this is maybe the
the
reason why,
Lions.
is the Lions.
The Lions.
The Lions, man, they
I
they stacked,
by week 12, I thought the Lions were gonna win it all.
bro. 'Cause-
And in my opinion, Jamar Gibbs is a top 3 running back in the league.
yeah, absolutely.
Jamar Gibbs is scary. You now had him in a timeshare with David Montgomery, who's already as top 10 right now.
Bro. And the
You
thing
have
about
Amon Ra,
and the
top
thing about
5 wide receiver.
Gibbs is that Gibbs can kill you in any way. He can catch the
Catching,
ball.
running.
and he can run the ball. Montgomery is a run first person. He just runs, runs, runs.
Yeah,
But Gibbs can be a receiver if he wants
either
to be.
or, whichever one you want. Which what do you like? Pass catcher, running back. He does it all, and he's a young, hungry player.
Crazy.
He's not gonna
So
be. So what's gonna happen is I don't see. I was talking to my friend Dario, and he
mhm,
thinks that they have the salaries cap space and all that stuff because he's still in his rookie contract, so they can have them for another couple of years,
yeah, yeah,
which is scary. And
yeah,
then you have
scary.
Amon Ra,
Hmm.
who's top five wide receivers in the league. It's a
Yeah,
scary team.
yeah, definitely scary too.
Scary team.
So shout out to the Eagles general manager. I hope the owner is having as much nightmares as we're having. I know I just remember the Super Bowl. When I'm having a bad day, I just think about let me think about how much the Super Bowl we are Super Bowl champions
Yeah.
and we just humiliated Mahomes. I'm like, you know what? The day is not so bad anymore. As an Eagles fan,
It's
I
not
can't
so
ask
bad,
for more. I wanted to ask about your reaction because when I was watching that Super Bowl game, man, I was like, I was in disbelief, bro, because I was like, I didn't expect Eagles to come out with that kind of energy. But I want to get your reaction. What was your reaction when you're watching that game?
When the game started, I was scared.
Hmm.
I was terrified, mainly because of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, bro.
Um,
Who's not?
and like Mahomes is a product of his own success.
Yeah.
Um, as a result, that was sort of his downfall in the public image. I
Mm,
compare him to the likes of the Michael Jordans, the
mm,
LeBrons, the
mm.
Messis, the Kobe Bryants.
Yeah.
People hated those players because they started winning too much,
Hmm.
especially if they weren't on your team. And
Hmm.
as a result, if Mahomes is not your team, Chiefs are not your team, you didn't like seeing them succeed. When they were younger, you're rooting for them because they're young, hungry, great talents with bright futures. But the moment they start winning too much, you don't
Like,
want that.
you
Like
do
slow
too
down a
much.
little bit.
You do too much,
And in the first half, the three peats being a possibility was my biggest problem. I'm like, you can't let this man three
bro.
peats.
They can't do it on us.
You can't. And I was rooted. I was more worried about that than
Mm,
anything because I'm like, this is history changing. It would have
mm,
happened on top of our heads. It would have been the second time they beat us in 3 years.
mhm.
It was just too much at stake. So I was don't let this guy three peats. And the Chiefs offense and entire organization lives and dies with Mahomes. It's
Yeah.
not Travis Kelsey. It's not Xavier. It's not Pacheco. It's not even their coach. What's our former coach name?
Kelly.
Um,
Is it?
Kelly.
No. Is it Kelly? I
It's
forgot his
not
name.
Kelly.
It's not Kelly. It's definitely not Kelly. 'Cause Chip Kelly is different.
It's not
Uh,
Kelly.
I'll get to
Big,
the big
yeah,
guy. We know him. We know
yeah,
him. We know him.
exactly. But either way, it's not even him. It's
Mhm.
Mahomes because Mahomes is the kind of
Andy
player.
Reid. That's the name.
Hey, thank
Jeez.
you. He's the kind of player that can succeed under any ministry, under any offense, under any organization. That's the
Yep.
kind of talent he is. And right now, he's being revered as a top five quarterback of all time already.
Yeah.
So he was the biggest person that I felt like if you can stop him, you
Hmm.
can win this game. So to
Yeah.
start the first half, I was terrified.
Hmm.
But quickly by the end of the first quarter, I was like, something's going on here. But let's not jump the gun because I remember 28-3 Atlanta versus Patriots. I'll never
That-
forget that day in my life
Bruh.
because I still don't believe that what happened.
I slept. I was telling them I slept and I woke up and I was like, what happened? I woke up and it's like magic in front of my eyes. I caught the last 2 minutes
28-3.
of that game.
It made no sense to me. So I didn't jump the gun, but by the end of the second quarter,
Hmm.
which was halftime, you
Hmm.
immediately knew who was going to win that game. You knew because it was overwhelming from offense, defense,
Hmm.
coaching tactics, uh, player statistics. It wasn't even fluke. It was just everything was going right, and
It's
nothing was going
outright
right for the
domination,
Chiefs.
bro. It's outright
Complete.
domination, bro.
People were even saying the game was boring. That's how
Yeah,
much they were getting beat.
bro. I call that in Nigeria, for all of you who are not from Nigeria that are listening, in Nigeria, we call that flogging. Flogging is where your elders just they bring the belt out and they just straight up, just dismantling you because they know that they have the upper hand on you. They know one, you're not gonna hit back. Two is that they're bigger than you, so you can't even do nothing. that was the experience that for that first half. But the funny part
That
about it
was
is that,
bullying.
bruh, I was watching that game and like first
Mhm.
half, I couldn't enjoy the victory. I couldn't enjoy it. Like,
Why not?
and the funny thing about it is, I had a Chiefs fan who was also there. Like, there was
Mhm.
this lady. She was a Chiefs fan, and she was there, and she was watching it. And like in her face, I could see the demeanor on her face where it's like she's like, "Damn, this is really happening in HD." But I'm the
Four
other
K.
hand. But I'm the other hand. I'm like, bruh, this Mahomes guy. If it, I've not seen him vex before. This will vex him. And when it comes out, I don't know who we are going to see.
No.
So in my mind, I'm like, because I've seen this man on a bad ankle. I've seen a guy throw the ball. Literally, I think was it Tampa Bay against when they
While
played against
falling,
throwing while falling. That like so I'm like, I
perfect
said,
spirals.
I'm like tossing the ball, just looping it. Like I'm like, so I've seen him do so many things. So in my mind, I'm like, if he comes out, he's going to do something crazy. Like this cannot be a Super Bowl. Like what I'm experiencing is not a Super Bowl. It's like there's a part two to this story that I'm not seeing. So in my mind, I'm like, there's a part two, and I'm watching. I'm like, this is not happening. By the third half, once the third quarter was
Third
done,
quarter.
yeah, I was like, game is over for real. It's
Yeah.
actually over because that time it was like 35-0 or something. I was like, I was in cloud nine, bro. I bought a new jersey, and they were saying there that like if you bought a new jersey, don't wear it though because you can go and curse us now.
Yeah,
So
Jinx.
I said no. I said I will not wear the new jersey. I even wore the new jersey as soon as they scored six. I scored a touchdown. I took the new jersey off. I said no. I brought the curse upon. I said I brought
When
the
they
curse
scored two
upon.
quick touchdowns.
No, I took it off. It wasn't until like 2 minutes when I saw Pickett come in the game. I was like, okay, that's when I knew
Yeah,
the game. I said, there's no revival anymore of this one. I
nah,
put
I
it
knew
on.
the game was over at halftime, bro. I
That's
knew it was over
crazy.
at halftime. As the main reason was not because of my doubt of Mahomes' ability,
Hmm.
was it was because of our defense.
Yeah,
They were sacking Mahomes left and right. He didn't have any space. He was every time the ball got snapped, he had someone down his
right.
lane. They
Those
were
brothers,
looking for him to. They were like hungry pit bulls.
bro. Those brothers slept with a mom's picture in front of their like on
Yeah.
their roof of their ceiling. They're like,
Yep.
brother, we're coming for you. We're coming for you. They just wake up like, we're coming for you.
they,
Because,
they they definitely did that because I don't know if
bro.
you've seen some of the leaked footages of Saquon Barkley's speech the
Oh yeah,
week
yeah,
of the before the Super Bowl,
yeah. I saw
and the
that.
guy was saying like, "Look, I'm not scared of them. I don't know about you guys. I'm not scared.
Hmm.
I'm excited. I'm
Bro,
ready for this. We prepared for this. We're the
bro.
better team." And the guy was not joking. You saw in his face there was no fear in this man's
Yeah,
eyes.
there was no fair. There was
There
no.
was no fear in this man's eyes.
Eh,
And even
eh,
the story that came out with Jalen Hurts too
mhm.
after the last Super Bowl loss, they came and told him like, how does this make you feel? It was like hungry
Bruh,
because I want to get back there. I
that
want
man
that.
said that man said my soul. I felt like my soul was. I was like, damn.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
remember that statement, that quote.
I felt a piece of my soul was lost. I was like, damn. So
And he said,
so,
that's the reason
bro,
why I got to get back there.
bro, and the way I'm looking at it, talking about getting back there, I'm looking at the Eagles right now, and I'm like, unless the Lions are gonna stop us, we're going back to back, bro.
The thing about football is, man, you can never expect you should always expect the unexpected.
I
One
don't
thing
know.
is football is the highest prone injury rate
Mm,
sport.
true, 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 true.
Two, three injuries and you're done. Like,
Mm,
right? Let's be honest. The Lions were injury ravaged
mm-hmm,
around the time Super Bowl. I mean, around the time playoffs came around. So you had a lot of key injuries,
mm-hmm,
and that's the sport. You
mm,
lose a Saquon Barkley, God forbid, who has had some serious injuries in the past,
yeah.
and that changes your trajectory. You lose a Jalen Hurts,
True,
that
true.
changes your trajectory. So
Yeah,
I
losing
never
Jalen
say
Hurts
never.
just like yeah.
That's why I said you need the right pieces. You need a little bit of luck. You
Mm-hmm,
need a favorable schedule sometimes so that you don't waste your efforts. Not that I don't think we can not beat anybody, right? But you
mm-hmm,
don't want to waste too much energy during the season.
mm-hmm.
This way, you can do what the Chiefs did. You play some of your backups for the last 2, 3 games of the season, so you
Yep,
can
yep.
keep your players fresh. So yeah, I think that personally, we're definitely a top 5 favorite next year.
Yeah.
That's me being a very passive fan. I guess
Pass
maybe
it.
Man U has ruined my
I rubbed it.
expectations. They has rubbed me the wrong way. If someone asks me expectations for Man U next season, I'll say top eight,
What's
top
it,
eight, top eight. Gonna enter Europa or something or Conference League.
Conference League, that's crazy.
So yeah, I'll say we're top five, but I won't say back to back yet. I feel like
Okay,
that's too
okay, okay.
yeah too
All
confident.
right, all right. And then lastly, I've had you enough here. We really thank you for your time. I just want to
Sure,
go
man.
over some last questions about. We talked about Jalen Hurts, and I
Yeah.
wanted to ask, why is he so disrespected as a quarterback? Like, why do you think he's so disrespected as a quarterback? Because, like, and I'm going to go into a next question that will shock you the amount of things that they say about this guy and
Hmm.
this man. When we talk about the top elite quarterbacks,
Yeah.
all the elites that they talk about, every time Jalen Hurts plays against them, he wins. Everyone.
Really?
He won against Josh Allen. He won against Lamar. He's won
And
against
he beat
Burrow because he beat Burrow this season
yeah this
mercilessly.
season. Yeah.
He won against the Chiefs when we had the rematch.
On
Remember,
the
like
yeah, and on the
because
big stage.
yeah, even when we had because after the Super Bowl there was the
Yeah,
regular
we
season
played them
game
one
against the
time.
team,
Yeah,
and we were like,
and we
this is
beat
our
them.
revenge, and we beat them. Who else is there? Who else is the top elite quarterbacks that they're talking about
Those are the
outside of
names they
those?
talk about. The Joe Burrows, the Mahomes, the Lamars, the ones that are
Every
winning
time
the
this,
Josh Allen's. Yeah,
every time this brother comes against them, he beat them. So why is this so
I
disrespectful?
didn't know that. The reason I think is so disrespected is because unlike the other quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts doesn't throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns,
Mm,
right? Even Lamar, when he was heavily scrutinized as a player that can't win a Super Bowl because he couldn't throw,
mm.
he came out the season and
They
was
started
throwing
crazy.
4 touchdowns a game, throwing 300-400 yards.
I
He was
remember.
launching the ball to Zay Flowers like it was no man's business.
Hmm.
So with Jalen Hurts, they said he couldn't throw deep. He always threw very short routes,
Hmm.
and he didn't have that ability to throw bombs or see the vision down
Hmm.
the field. And I feel like that was why they heavily criticized him, even though his QB rating was very good and his win rate was still very good in the
Hmm.
top 10 percentile again. But because they felt like he's someone that didn't have that ability or the arm of a Patrick Mahomes, he couldn't win.
Mm.
And that's why he was heavily, you know what I mean? Even when we won, he had a video ready to go on his page, on his Instagram page. That
Bruh.
was a compilation of everything people were saying about him, all the
Mhm.
pundits.
Hmm.
And with each one, you just see him walking, new suits, walking, touchdown, walking, rushing. You know what I mean? No
Yeah.
matter what they said about him, he fueled it as motivation. And one thing that came out after the Super Bowl, I'm not sure if you saw this, someone got a picture of his phone screen saver.
Yeah. Hmm.
You saw that?
Yeah, I
It was
saw
a
that.
picture of the Super Bowl loss
Hmm.
from the Chiefs 2 years ago.
Hmm.
He had his eyes set on it that whole time.
Man had the
He had the vision. He had the hunger.
locked
And
in.
I'll take someone like that any day over a Joe Burrow. It might
Yeah,
sound biased, but I'll take that because a Joe Burrow, I haven't seen that hunger. I just see someone that's pure talent. A Jalen Hurts is hungry.
bruh. He
He
said like I
wants
don't.
to win.
He said, "Talents be damned. I'll come here and find a way to make you guys win. That's all I'm gonna
That's
do."
my point. That's the kind of plays you want. That also, not to bring it back to soccer, but that's the kind of plays you want for your team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not not the Neymars that have the talent but not the hunger, right?
Hmm.
But you want people they want to win something. That's why I love Bruno Fernandez so much.
Hmm.
And I feel like he's heavily disrespected because of the players they put around him.
Hmm.
They affect his productivity. Since in the past 5 years, Bruno Fernandez has created the most scoring opportunities and big
Wow.
chances in the league,
Hmm.
statistically, more than Kevin De Bruyne.
Hmm.
He's number
Wow.
one in that statistic. He just has players that can't finish around him. So that's
Hmm.
why I said I would take a hungry player that will work hard
Hmm.
because hard work beats talent any day
Any
of the week. People
day,
forget
any
that.
yeah, people
And
did.
that's one thing I like about him. Yeah.
Hmm. All right. The next thing I wanted to say is I wanted to go over. I want to go over a question, and this is it's kind of sarcastic, but I want to say which of the following is false about what has been said about Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
Mark Jones is a better quarterback than Jalen. CJ
False.
Stroud is better. than Jalen. Jaden
False.
Daniels is better than Jalen.
Jesus Christ. That's just
Da-
disrespectful at this point.
Dak Prescott is better than Jalen.
Dak
Trevor
who?
Lawrence, Dak Prescott, he's better
I don't
than
know any. I don't know who that is because clearly he's been missing for the past 5 years.
Oh, Travis Lawrence is better than
Trevor
than
Lawrence.
um Richardson, the new quarterback, is
For
better.
what, the Colts?
Yeah, for the Colts. Minshew is so. Which one of them? Which one of them do you think is made up out of all those?
In my
Out of those
personal
things?
opinion, it might sound biased again. All of them
Mhm.
is false. The only person that I can see right now, two people where the trajectory that and a high ceiling is one CJ Stroud and Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah,
Those are two players that had great seasons.
hmm
But
but
the
not
one
better.
that I think they're not better. The one person that I feel like will probably have a better career is probably CJ Stroud. He seems more natural talent. Jaden
But
McDaniels, you got to put some meat on his bones.
yeah, Jaden McDaniels,
You know what I mean?
he's enjoying the freshman high.
Yeah, exactly.
There's the sophomore slump that typically happens, and then because
Andrew Luck.
that's what happened to CJ Stroud. Because
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is freshman year, like a rookie season, he was like just killing it. Now
Yes. Breaking
the
records.
second season syndrome is
Reality sets in.
sets in. You don't have all those guys, the tools. The league knows how you want to play. So if you run, they're coming at you. If
Yeah.
you're going to throw, they know what your style of throwing is.
Your
So
plays,
everybody
yeah.
studies you. So that one that is doing Jen Daniels that is just doing running. When they when somebody hits you, bro, that rib that you
Yo,
felt,
I'm telling you,
it,
because people forget how hard they hit in the NFL. Right now, he has his athleticism on his side. Talking about Jaden McDaniels. The moment one person catches a clean hit on him and he feels the shock of his body and his body lock up, he will
bro.
change his style of play.
It definitely will. Because
He will change his
remember,
style of play.
remember when Jalen first came in his like his rookie season, probably like
Yeah,
after he took over like his full time QB1. Remember,
yeah,
it was straight up just running reckless head first.
non-stop.
The moment he got his first knee injury, my brother knew how to slide. He was like, "Bro, I do this slide
Because he
real
never
quick."
used to slide. He
He
never
never
used to
used to come
slide.
before
He
because
used to run like a running back.
because he used to think that I'm a big guy, so if I hit somebody hit me, it don't matter. So, all right, I think we're gonna end it here. Thanks a lot, Mac, for coming in
For
and just
sure, brother.
having
Thanks for having me.
very genuine conversation. If you love all the conversations that we've had so far, guys, smash a like, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, we're available on all different social media platforms. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I don't be posting on TikTok like that, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try, guys. I'm gonna try.
There's a
This
huge audience there, brother.
I know this content creator life is not easy because people be thinking that it's just post it. It's not easy. There's the editing that is done in the behind the scenes. So I pray I just ask that you guys should appreciate by liking, subscribing on some of this content. And man, we're gonna catch you on the next episode. Mark, it's been real. Thanks for staying on and this long and
For
just
sure,
having a
man.
conversation. And we'll
Man,
catch
thanks
up
for
with
having
you on
me,
the next
man.
time. Thank you guys.
No
Peace.
problem.